joyful sound. Jesus saves, Jesus saves. Spread the tidings all around. Jesus saves, Jesus saves. Bear the news to every land. Climb the steeps and cross the waves. Onward 'tis our Lord command. Jesus saves, Jesus saves. Verse 2. Walking on the rolling tide. Jesus saves, Jesus saves. Tell the sinners far and wide. Jesus saves, Jesus saves. Sing ye all the lands of clay. Echo back ye ocean caves. Earth shall keep her jubilee. Jesus saves, Jesus saves. Sing above the battle strife. Jesus saves, Jesus saves. By his death and endless life. Jesus saves, Jesus saves. Sing it softly through the gloom. With a heart of mercy craves. Sing in triumph o'er the doom. Jesus saves, Jesus saves. Give the winds a mighty voice. Jesus saves, Jesus saves. Let the nations now rejoice. Jesus saves, Jesus saves. Shout salvation full and free. Highest hills and deepest caves. Till our song of victory. Jesus saves, Jesus saves. We're going to move to 626, the lily of the valley. 626. Jesus, he's everything to me. He's the fairest of 10,000s to my soul. The lily of the valley, in him alone I see. All I need to cleanse and make me fully whole. In the sorrow, comfort, and trouble, he's my stay. He tells me every care on him to roll. He's the lily of the valley, the bright and morning star. He's the fairest of 10,000 to my soul. Verse 2. He all my grief had taken and all my sorrow borne. He's the long and mighty tower. I have all for him forsaken and all my idols torn from my heart, and now he keeps me by his power. Through a world of forsake me, salvation tempts me so. Jesus I shall safely go. He's the lily of the valley, the bright and morning star. He's the fairest of 10,000s to my soul. He will never, never leave me, nor yet forsake me here, while I live by faith to do his will. A wall of fire about me, and nothing now to fear. With his manna he will hungry soul my fill. Then the sweeping up to glory to see his blessed face, where rivers of blood will never roll. He's the lily of the valley, the bright and morning star. He's the fairest of 10,000 to my soul. Amen. Brother Charlie.
Didn't we just do this? So we're going to go ahead and run this flash drive off of that computer right there, so that should make it a little bit more convenient for him. So anyway, you guys recall about 6 months ago or so, I tried to get somebody from DPD here, and they were supposed to come, and then something happened. They weren't able to be here, and so we just taught a regular lesson. But I really felt like this was an important topic for us to be aware of, and just the options out there to us as far as law enforcement is concerned, and just some things to help us be a little more in tune with how these things happen to good people. So I reached out, and this is Detective Brian Wolf from the Denton County District Attorney's Office. He is a financial crimes investigator, if I remember right. So he's here to help us learn more about how we can not become victims of fraud and financial crime. So let's give him a warm welcome.
All right, well, good afternoon. I'm going to try to navigate this microphone. My name's Brian Wolf. I am a financial crimes investigator for the District Attorney's Office in Denton. This is my 35th year in law enforcement. I started when I was a little kid. Wow, thanks. Yeah, time's gone by fast, and man, times have changed in my field. So I started in 1991 under Sheriff Kirby Robinson. He's the one that hired me, and started in the jail and worked my way up through the jail into patrol, and worked patrol for about 5 years, and then promoted to investigator and moved over to the District Attorney's Office. I was assigned to court, and then went to a specialized unit that did hot checks. So back in the check days when people were writing bad checks, there were quite a few of those here in Denton County. The background, do I need to stand further away from that? I'm getting feedback on the, is that better? Okay. Okay, yeah, all right. No, it's okay. Yeah, it's fine. Anyway, so that was about 2000, 2001, and worked financial crimes ever since. I did a 5-year stint with the U.S. Treasury. I was farmed out to them under what we call an MOU, which basically means I was a federal agent, but being still a state officer. And really specialized in some more in-depth financial crimes with drug cartels. And so we seized money from the bad guys, from organized crime, and did that for 5 years, and then came back from my stint with Treasury and was the chief investigator here for 5 years until I retired. Went to work for the state, and that was a miserable 2 years of my life, and was assigned to the FBI task force, and was not a fit for me, and asked to come back to the DA's office, and came back just in my old spot as a financial crimes investigator. And so I've really had the whole gamut of federal and state financial crime training, and I've been trained by the best. And our field is kind of a niche. I mean, it's very specialized, and not very many people in law enforcement want to get into it because it's very time consuming. In some of these cases, I had a federal case that I worked that took 4 years, and that's a lot of time, right? But it was worth it. And financial crimes and law enforcement it's a very small group. And so that's something you need to be aware of. It's not a common area of expertise. But I like doing these classes because education is the key. When somebody gets hit when they get defrauded, it's very hard to get your money back, if not impossible. And so about probably 10 years ago. I was like, hey, it's going to be a lot better if I get out in the community and try to educate as many people as I can and to hopefully lower the numbers. Whether that has or not, I don't know, but it sure makes me feel better knowing that at least some people know what to look for after taking these classes. So I'm going to go through this PowerPoint, and then any questions that you have, if we can just hold them till the end, that would be great. I'd be more than happy to answer them once we're done. And yeah, so let's start. So who are the victims of fraud? Okay, so the most common age range is 62 and older. The second most common is teenagers, young adults. Why do y'all think that is? Let's start with 62 and up. Why do you think that 62 and older is the primary target of fraudsters? Trust, that's a good one. Because you have the money, right? So people in their mid to late 20s, 30s, I mean, they're starting to fan. They don't have the money. The money is where this room is, 62 and older. I believe 62 and older accounts for almost 80% of the money, the finances in the United States. What about the youngest group? What about these 18 to 22-year-olds? Huh? Yeah, they're that age, right? You know, they are off to college. And I don't know about y'all, but I remember when I went to college, there were people set up in the union wanting to give you a credit card. And it hasn't changed much. And these kids give away their social security number and date of birth and name like it's nothing. So with that information, they take it and then open credit cards in these kids' names and max out cards and ruin their credit before they even finish their first semester. But that's the reason. And I remember, like, you know, back in the day, you know, my college ID, just like I'm sure a lot of y'all's were, was your social security number. It was right there on your ID. That's changed, specifically because of all the fraud. That's why they don't put your social security number on your college ID anymore. 85%. Sorry, got a little bit ahead. So let's go over this real quick. I said 80%, it's 85%. 3 billion is stolen from seniors every year. That is a grossly underreported number. It's probably 10 times that, maybe even higher. And the reason is it's rarely reported. 1 in 44 cases, that's a lot higher too. These numbers are not correct. They're way low. As we talked about earlier with the young kids being naive. But when I have people come into my office and we talk, which is not very often, because it's so underreported because people are embarrassed about it. And I tell people, you know, it's okay, you know, don't be embarrassed by it, but they are. And that's why it's so underreported, is people are ashamed. They don't want to tell their children, their grandchildren, their guardian that, you know, they feel embarrassed by it. So it's not reported. Okay, I put these in here because I want to talk about check washing. That has made a comeback for whatever reason I do not know. When checks were in their heyday, I'll kind of give you a real brief history, some useless trivia. When checks were in their heyday, our department, we had 3 full-time investigators working strictly check cases. A court was assigned to strictly do check cases. And we were bringing in, there were months that we had $1 million months of people bringing checks in. That's crazy. And that was 25 years ago. And that was just Denton County. So checks were a horrible problem. And the reason that they were is that, it would take 2 days for the checks to clear the bank, so they knew they could go on a check writing spree. It was very slow system and ripe for fraud. Well, check washing started to pop up then. And it started in the late 1980s by postal employees in Los Angeles, California, that were stealing checks out of the mail and then washing them and then changing the made payable to and cashing or negotiating the checks. Check washing is very simple. It's very easy to do. I've done it before. I've had classes before where I've done a demonstration of how easy it is to wash a check. Ladies, who has a bottle of fingernail polish remover in their house? Yeah. What's the main compound of fingernail polish remover? Acetone. Acetone's an ink remover. So all you need is a 99-cent bottle of fingernail polish remover, and you can wash a check completely off. Now, there are some ways that you can prevent a check being washed, but I'm going to show you here in these next coming slides how it kind of evolves. Okay, so this is a real deal. This is one of the old check cases that I had that was a washed check. Okay, this was for a cable company. It was a bill like we all do, right? Or hopefully we don't do that anymore, and we'll talk about that later. So that check was washed, and you can see that it's completely gone, the ink. And what are we going to do to combat this? The first thing I tell everybody, and if there's one thing today that, well, I hope you take a lot from this, but if you're a check writer, you still write checks and you put it in the mail, stop. Because you're just opening yourself up for a bunch of misery. My mom, who is 82, she'll be 82 this year, born in 44. My mom's 82, or 81. She lives at home alone by herself. She was a school teacher for 45 years. And my father, when he was alive, had a system where every bill was paid by writing a check and putting a stamp on it and putting it in the mail. Every single check, every single bill, mortgage, electric, phone, everything. So when he passed, I told my mom, I was like, times have changed. You've got to stop putting checks in the mail. And she'd had friends that got hit. And I've got her down now to where I think it's only a couple a month, which is better than the 10 or plus it was. So I know that if you still do that, I know it's hard to stop doing what everybody's been doing for so long, including me. I used to do it too. I mean, those times have changed. People know when you're sending in bills in the mail, and they will take your check and they will wash it, and then they will go to your bank and they will cash that check. And you think you've paid your mortgage or your electric bill or something like that until you get a notice. So they've already got a 30-day head start on you, or a 2-3 week head start. And it's very hard to deal with the banks and get your money back on stuff like that. So limit the amount of checks that you write. Okay. That's just for check theft. Now, for check washing specifically, so what's the main compound of ink? It's water, okay? Water-based ink. And so it's a lot easier to wash with acetone. Acetone, it's watered down, right? So I tell everybody to use gel or felt tip pens when they write. If you're going to write a check, okay, use a gel or a felt tip pen. It will not wash. It will do one of two things. It will do nothing, or gel or felt have even a higher concentration of water. So when the acetone mixes with that, it will either one, do nothing, depending on the brand of gel or felt tip pen, or it will completely smudge and smear out, okay? Which it'll just be a big blob. So use gel or felt tip pens. Fill the checks out completely. A lot of people don't do that. If you're going to use the mail for checks, don't put it in your mailbox, okay? Take it to the post office. Now, there's a big problem here not too long ago with the post offices around here having some security issues, and people were getting their checks stolen out of the mail. But at least you eliminate one chance of somebody driving down in a car and just hitting your mailbox and going on down the road. We'll get back to talking a little bit more about checks in a minute, but I'll let you know this, is that check washing that's a whole, like I said, something that started back in the 80s and is now has made a comeback. But like I tell people, I don't want to go through the hassle of washing your check. If I just have your check information, I'm going to go to Office Max or Office Depot. I'm going to get on my laptop, and I'm going to print out checks in your name, and I'm just going to go to town doing that, okay? So your check, when you write a check, what's on that check? Your name, your address, maybe your phone number. I'm hoping that your social security number or driver's license isn't on there, which mine used to be. Back in the 90s, I was like, yeah, no, I want my driver's license number on there. That way, they see that they don't have to worry about, my ID or anything like that. Where you bank, okay, and your checking account number, the full account number. So all I need to do is get all that information, just put it on check stock, which I can go to Office Max or Office Depot, and completely just type the stuff in and print as many checks out as I want with all your information on it. So does everybody kind of get what I'm saying? Get rid of your checks. What I did with my mom is she likes to fly. She likes to travel. And so I was like, hey, let's put all your stuff on Citi Card. Not debit card with your bank, credit card. There's a difference. And I don't know if this is on here or not, but if we come across, I'll tell you about that real quick, because if we come across it, I'll just go over it. But if you get ripped off using your debit card, well, I'll just put it this way. So I have a friend, got his wallet stolen, had his debit card in there, and he had a local bank here. And by the time he realized in like 3 hours, they had taken his debit card and had charged about $3,000 worth of stuff. It's a lot, but that's very common. He went into the bank with a police report, and it took him almost 2 months to get his $3,000 back from just the hassle of them having to do their own investigation, back and forth. So he was out $3,000 for 7 weeks, a little under 7 weeks. Okay. Change that to where he has a credit card. Credit card gets stolen, and they charge it up, max it out. Well, he calls his credit card company and say, these are unauthorized charges. Well, it wasn't taken out of his bank account. It was just taken out of his line of credit. Credit card companies are a lot easier to deal with when it comes to losses or fraud than debit cards are. Your debit card's just one step better, or one step above a check. It's not worth using. If your number gets compromised, which it will, everybody's just a victim waiting to happen with that. You're going to have to deal with your bank. And depending on your bank, some banks are better than others. But if it's just where your credit card number gets compromised, it's as simple as canceling your credit card and having them send another one and telling the credit card company, hey, I've got fraud on my card, dispute the charges and be done with it. Versus a bank on your debit card, and then you've got to deal with a bunch of other stuff. So, and you get points, right? Or whatever rewards or cash back or whatever. So there's a lot more protections with credit cards. So just know that. Okay, this is really, I did a class for Robeson Ranch, and those folks out there are real nice and very, I do one about once every year or so, and had a lady come to me and say, hey, I've got something that I want to show you, and she showed it to me, and I was like, this is so good, can I use this in one of my presentations? She goes, absolutely. So I want to show y'all something here. This is a email scam. So she got this text from American Express that had an attachment on it. Why would a credit card company send you an attachment? That's a red flag right there, right? Okay, it is. They would never do that. Okay. Here is what they're asking you to do. Take a moment to download this form. They want you to click on the attachment because it's a Trojan horse, okay? When you click on that, then you have all kinds of trouble. All right, let's go through this and let's see some of the problems here. So, yeah, that's right. Yeah, misspelled. So you're really, somebody's going to misspell that? You send me from the credit card company, going to have misspellings in it? Same thing here. They're trying to say, hey, we want to help you download this form. When I got this, I was like, hey, thank you so much for using it. She goes, well, I got one even better than that. And I was like, really? She goes, yeah, I got this email. And she goes, but they got me on this one. And I was like, okay, well, send it to me, and can I use it? Absolutely. Thank you so much. This is a really good one. Talking about Trojan horses, right? So Trojan horse, right? They go into your computer. They get all the information that they can, including your contacts, okay? So then they take these contacts, and they'll send you emails or your friends' emails, and this is what the deal is. So, Annette, good to hear from you. Hope all is well with you. I need to get 2 Amazon gift cards for my niece. It's her birthday, but I can't do this now because I'm currently traveling. Can you get it for me from any store around you? I'll pay you back next week when I get home, Lorraine. She had been a victim of a Trojan horse, and she had a friend in her contact named Lorraine. Then they emailed her and asked for gift cards. Now she was like, oh man, yeah, I'd be happy to do that. And she replies, how much do you want them for? Thanks a lot. Total amount is good is $200, 2 cards at $100 a piece. All you need to do is take a picture of the back and show me the digits and the pin. And she did. So if anybody ever calls you asking you in some form of payment of a gift card, that is a scam, guaranteed, okay? So any emails, requests, phone requests, anything like that, and this is a huge problem right now. We had a deal actually in Flower Mound where we had a gentleman that lost, I don't know, it was in the thousands of dollars. But they had found out what church he had gone to, and they emailed him, they spoofed him, pretending to be the church, saying that they had a volunteer, some kind of program that they were getting donations for, and that they were going to use gift cards as prizes, and they would ask if he would get some gift cards for the church. Well, he did, and then same type of deal, just when you just need the numbers, or they had him mail them off, and he kept on doing this again and again and again and again. And I actually stopped him outside of a Home Depot, and I was like, please, sir, this is not, your church isn't asking. He just didn't believe it. I mean, he had another $500 worth of cards in his hand. So be wary of all this. If you ever get any kind of emails like this, it's a scam, and they'll use every means possible to get it. This is a really good one. Track and confirm. We see these a lot at Christmas around the holidays. FedEx, UPS, the same, FedEx, UPS, US Postal Service. First thing you need to ask is, was I expecting a package? Okay. If you get an email or a text saying, hey, we got your package, we're just some problems, we need to, have you contact us. Well, the first thing to ask yourself is, was I expecting a package? Now, around the holidays, and with Amazon and stuff like that, we order stuff at the house all the time. I don't know what's coming or going. I really don't. But I do know when I get these texts or emails, what are they asking for? I don't click on links. I don't do any of that. And are they asking for any kind of credit card or banking information? My advice to you is, don't ever believe anything that somebody sends you in an email or a text is true, or a phone call for that matter, because you don't know who they are. You do know who they are when you pick up the phone and call a number that you know, like it's on the back of your credit card or your bank phone number or anything like that. You do know who you're going to talk to on the other line there. These spoof things have gotten so good that you can spoof the sheriff's office, my office, where you're looking at your caller ID and it says Denton County DA's office. Don't ever believe that, ever, okay? It's so easy to spoof these numbers now. But these track and confirm stuff, you'll see more of these around the holidays because packages are coming and going. You don't know what you're getting, and don't ever use the link from the email to verify the tracking number, because you'll get those, right? Hey, please verify the tracking number. Click on this link. It's Trojan horse. It's going to take all the information you've got in your phone and send it to somebody else. Briefly touched on this. It's the number one, the phone calls is the number one scam in the state of Texas right now. IRS, Treasury, in working for Treasury, I can tell you this 100%. Treasury does not pick up the phone and call you. The IRS will not pick up the phone and call you. They will send you something in the mail. Okay? And the same thing with the sheriff's office, the DA's office. They're not going to pick up the phone and say, hey, you missed jury duty. You've got a warrant for your arrest. Okay? They're not going to do that ever. So any calls you get, no matter what it says on the caller ID, and if you think you have concerns where you feel like you should follow up on that, hang up, call the sheriff's office yourself or the police department or the DA's office and ask yourself. But be wary of any calls that come from numbers that say, hey, a law enforcement agency or Social Security Administration or anything like that, because spoofing numbers is super easy these days. Grandparent scam. So this is pretty crazy. This happened to my mom. And I really had a lot of pushback from her on some of the stuff that I wanted her to do to help protect herself. And she kind of gave me some pushback until this happened to her. And I'll tell you what happened. So one morning I'm sitting in the office about 8:15. Mom calls. I already know that that's a problem. Something's wrong. Because we have our set times, right? And she goes, your sister's in jail. And I said, what? She was in an accident. They said she's drunk. I've got a lawyer that just called me and said that he's wanting to get her out of jail. He needs $30,000 for bond. And as soon as the bank opens, I'm going to get the $30,000, and he's having me wire it to him. And I was like, okay, what happened? Well, she was in a bad traffic accident. She was drunk this morning at 7 o'clock, and they've arrested her and taken her to jail. And I was like, okay. Well, I was like, have you called my sister? Have you called Claire? And she was like, no. I was like, well, give me the number that he gave you. And then while I'm on the phone calling this number, I want you to call my sister and see if you can get her on the phone. She gives me the number that the attorney gave her, and I have a deadline where it won't show up on any caller ID, and so it's a anonymous number. So I called that from my anonymous number line, and nothing. Nobody would answer, and so hung up. And I was like, this is a scam, and called my mom right back, and she goes, I just got off the phone with your sister. And I was like, yeah, you were scammed. So they knew who my mom was. They knew who my sister was, their relation, and it really shook her up because she was going straight to the bank at 10 a.m. to get 30 grand and wire it. But it's called a grandparent scam. And so hers was wire money. It's going back to the gift cards. They want gift cards. Okay, red flag. Go back here for a second. Now with this voice and AI stuff, I can't even tell you how crazy that is. So they can even actually get, a voice of someone or a family member to call you, spoof their number. Always make sure you verify, with a question or anything like that, a security question that you have amongst your friends or family. But again, the keys are they're going to want you to wire them money or send them gift cards as some form of payment. And this is a real one that's really taken off now is the dating scams. And I had a case where a guy, great guy, he was a facilities guy at one of the schools here in Denton County, and that my son went to, and older guy, mid-60s, and mid to late 60s. He had worked there for as long as I'd known him. My son had been there, going to school since he was a little kid there. And he stopped me one day and he said, "Hey, can I talk to you?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I've got a problem." I told me the story. Well, he met a girl online, and she started asking him for money. And $50 turned into $100, turned into $1,000, turned into $10,000, turned into $100,000. He had all this money. He was about to retire. He lost all his retirement. He then went to the bank and took out a loan for $120,000, sent all that to her, and was having to file bankruptcy, and went to the point to where he was months away from retiring to never being able to retire now. So all from a romance scam. So I told him I'd help him, try to find out. Of course, it was overseas. Everything was being sent overseas. No way he'll ever see a dollar of that back. But these things are really, really bad. And they're also super underreported. Like, he's the only one that's ever told me that he's been a victim of a romance scam. I mean, we're in a county of 1 million people. There's tons of that going on right now. So here's some of the things that you'll see with this. A request to go off the dating site and chat by email or phone. An area code that is not from where the person says he or she is living. A quick declaration of love, and requests for racy photos that they can use later to extort money. This happens with the younger kids, okay? And it's really a bad deal, actually. There's people that have killed themselves over this, so it's a really, really upsetting thing. But as far as the quick declaration of love and all this kind of stuff, is that, what I've found is that who they target: older individuals, widowers, people that are lonely, that want to talk to somebody, and have money, and they fall victim to this. It's the third most reported scam in Texas. I always tell people, if you're going to send money, don't ever expect it back, because you're not going to get it back. It's gone. You might as well just take it to the trash can and put some lighter fluid on it and strike a match. It's gone. You'll never get it back. 70% of the victims are in their 40s and 50s, and victims age 70 and over lose the most amount of money, with an average of $10,000. That's way underreported. It's way higher. FTC, this was in 2018, because then they were coming out with these about every 3 years, and then they stopped for a little bit. But 143 million was lost, which is way underreported. The IC3, which is the nationwide crime information center for white collar crime, reported just under 220 million in 2016. That's grossly underreported. Like I said, these are just the reported numbers, right? Not the people that won't report it, which we go back to 1 in 44. Okay, so you can multiply that, which that 1 in 44 is under, I would say probably it's close to 1 in 100. So that's a lot of money. Lottery scams, that's kind of gone away, but I can promise you, if anybody picks up the phone and calls you and says you won the lottery, you didn't. I hate to disappoint you. That didn't happen. If you get something in the mail saying you won the lottery, you didn't. It's a scam. Always remember, right? If it's too good to be true, it probably is. Not only probably, it is too good to be true. what you'll see with these scams, and these, we used to call them 419s. I don't know what they call them now, but this is a form of what we call a 419 scam, is that, hey, you've won this lottery, but before you get your money, you need to pay your taxes. And it's even got to the point where they'll send a counterfeit check made payable to you for $8 million, to where like it's tangible. You've got it in your hand, and say, well, you can't cash it yet, okay? You have to send us the taxes on it before we release the hold on the check. Yeah, so I've got one in here, a 419 scam. So Secret Service, when I was working cases with them, they really headed up the 419 scams because they all originated from overseas, okay? So, but this is a kind of something that you would see, hey, you're a prince, or I'm a prince and I'm in exile and I got $16 million and I just need you to help me with this little bit, and then I'm gonna pay you all kinds of money. And like, I see, some folks here just like shaking their heads like, oh man, who would ever fall for that? People do. They do. So on the 419 scams, this is an original one. So they try to make it look all official, right? But it originates outside the U.S. Exorbitant amount of money, like this is 16.5 million. Very official looking stamps and seals. I mean, they try to make it look as realistic as possible. Builder scams. Roofs, driveways, home additions, pools. We see a lot of this, especially with like pools. Are they local? What we always try to find out when we prosecute these people, are they local and established? Are they bonded? These are questions that you need to ask yourself right off the bat. When these storms hit in the spring, we just get flooded. It's just a continuous deal. These scammers, they go to every spot that gets hit. They want to put a roof on your house, super cheap. They want to, help you in some kind of way. They'll undercut the price, which everybody likes a good deal, right? So if you've got somebody that's looking to do something for you for $8,000, $10,000 less than your other four people that you got, estimates on, that's a red flag. Are they going to want money up front? When we have our stuff done at our house, we've had a pool, we've had all kinds of stuff done, and we don't pay up front. I don't use people like that. So installments, no problem, but upfront money, no. Don't buy from door-to-door salesmen. We've talked about that with numerous people that have been victimized by these folks. You don't see that as much anymore now because actually like the Ring doorbells and stuff like that, they don't like that. So they'd much rather do it anonymously over the phone or email. And I'm not talking about the Boy Scouts or anything like that try to sell your stuff, so, like I used to be. Okay, for sale by owner, there's a lot of scams going on with Facebook Marketplace, all this. Be wary of all these. When selling merchandise, don't deviate from your form of payment because they'll ask to write a check. They'll say, we'll pay cash, but then you'll get to the point where you're doing the transaction. They're like, I couldn't go to the bank. We accept this check. That will be bad. This is a really good one. I've kept this around a long time. This was one of my first cases. What if I was buying a car from you and said, you know what? I forgot my check. I don't have the cash like I said I was going to bring. And I know you don't want to check because I know you don't want that to be bad. Well, what if I just get a cashier's check? Would you take it? I would. I mean, cashier's check. What do people think when they see cashier's check? Legit. It's guaranteed money by the bank. It's a cashier's check. Right? Somebody walked into the bank with $11,057 and some change, put their money on the table, the bank typed up a cashier's check, and now I'm here ready to buy your car. Remember when we were talking about the Office Max or Office Depot, the check-generated stock earlier? Yeah. That's all this is. But actually, these people were smart enough to put cashier's check up top. Pretty ingenious. So all they did was just take the Nations Bank logo, put it on there, and put cashier's check on there, on top. Cut and pasted an authorized signature, and there you have it. That's a counterfeit check. Talking about VersaCheck stock, computer-generated stock, a lot of times it'll have this saying right here, this document, it's the micro printing, it's that line right there. Okay? Now, people use these for legitimate purposes. Just because it says that on the check doesn't make it a bad check. But that's an indicator of a computer-generated check because that's what that check stock will have on it generally. For sell by owner, this is the way I look at it. I still live in a world of cash. I don't know how many people do these days. I'm hoping there's some people out here that still live in a world of cash. But I use cash. When I go to the grocery store, I use cash. When I go out to eat, I use cash. Now there's places that don't take cash. Did we ever think we'd be in a world like that? Crazy, huh? We don't take cash. Then I use my credit card. But I've done several, and literally when I say several, like less than 10 in my lifetime, transactions using where I meet somebody that I don't know and selling them something. It's cash or nothing, and that's it. So know that, because I know the cash is going to be good. Hopefully, it's not counterfeit. Okay, so let's just highlight some of the stuff we talked about. Be wary of all requests that ask you to wire money, send gift cards, or provide gift card numbers. That's fraud, guaranteed. Be wary of all phone calls or emails that ask for you any type of bank account numbers, financial identifiers, credit card numbers, etc. That's fraud. Monitor your bank account. Who has credit alerts right now? Alerts on their credit? Yeah, just use a show of hands. Let me know. Yeah. Okay, so about roughly half. That's pretty good. When y'all have time, the ones that didn't raise their hand, go online. There's 3 credit reporting bureaus, and you can Google all this. It's all out there. Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Those are the 3 credit reporting bureaus. In other words, when you go to buy a car, whenever you apply for a credit card or anything like that, they're going to go to 1 or 2 or all 3 of these places to run your credit. You can go online and just put a credit freeze on your account. It's simple. It takes all of about 15 seconds. And go to all 3 and do that. So it'll take you less than 10 minutes total, navigating all the stuff. It's very simple. That protects you from having anybody getting your information, your social security number, and then using it to open up credit in your name. Okay? That is a huge problem, and it can be solved real quick by putting a freeze on your credit. Now, your car breaks down, which mine did over Christmas. and went to the car dealership, and they came back. I totally forgot. I was kind of just like, oh man, this has been a bad week. And they're like, yeah, is your credit locked? And I'm like, yeah, it is. It's like, oh man, yeah, it is. So I got on my phone, unlocked my credit, took all of 5 minutes, did my transaction with the dealership. Before I left, locked it all back up. So the bad guys and bad girls, because there's plenty of them out there too, they target you in this group, in this age group, because they know you got good credit, and you're going to have a good credit line. They're not going to go for the younger, kids in college that have a $1,500 credit line. They want your credit line. They want your credit. Okay? So all they need is your social security number, your name, your date of birth. That's it. If y'all read online about, I'll tell you the reason why I preached that and I started doing this myself is that we got a notice, that was about 3 years ago, of there was a security data breach of, I forgot who it was. You can look it up though, and it basically got everybody's social security. It basically got everything, everybody's personal identifiers, every one of us. So, and then I got a notice on my. I have Capital One. I have a Capital One credit card. I never use it, but they have really good fraud detection. And I got a notice from Capital One saying that I was on the dark web. They had located my information on the dark web. The dark web is a Facebook store for bad guys all over the world, and all they do is buy information from this site, and they take your identifiers and they try to get credit in your name or pretend to be somebody that they're not. It's called the dark web. You can research it. There's all kinds of bad stories about it. So, but that's what happens. And but by putting a credit freeze on your reports, you can save yourself a lot of grief. And I would highly recommend you do that. Who monitors their bank accounts? Good. Yeah, awesome. I do too. In fact, I've got my bank, I've got a deal that anything, I think it's over $20, any charge, that goes on my credit, I say my bank, my credit card, any charge, it just pops up on my notifications, so I know instantly. So I like that a lot. And it lets me know if there's been any problems. My son, who's at OU, he works he's in Norman, and he's works for the university, and he got hit not too long ago with a charge for multiple charges for $3, and all they were doing was testing to see if an amount would go through, right? And it was all pending. And he's like, Dad, I was like, these charges, they're for $1 a piece, and I didn't make these charges. I was like, cancel your card. But I'm so proud of him, because I was like, you know what? He listened to me. He listened to his dad. I mean, not on a lot of other stuff, but he did listen there. And he was like, Dad, I never use this, I'm very careful about it, I don't, I'm like, yeah, just know we can be as careful as we want. If they want your stuff, they'll get it, okay? Like I talked about, earlier, you didn't win the lottery. That's not going to happen. And what I do is I let folks know is that you can call me or email me anytime, and I will get back with you. If you've got any concerns or questions, it was at Robeson Ranch. So last thing with this, call me or email me if you ever need anything. I had a lady call me the next week, and she goes, hey, I got this letter in the mail, and it's it was a deal for an estate, and they had found out that this is how sneaky and how sorry some of these people are. Obituaries that are printed in the newspaper, well, they just know who died, what your relationship is to them, and then they start doing their own investigation to see if you got money. And what they had done, what I think they had done, is she had just had, I think she lost her brother. But somebody had sent her a letter saying, hey, the estate of, well, I'll just say your brother so-and-so, we need to get some information from you. We're settling the estate. And she's like, this looks so official, but I don't think there's something just not right. I was like, yeah, email me the letter. So she emailed it. And then, so I did some little, check the phone, verified. I got systems that can, track numbers and all that, phone numbers. And yeah, it was fraud. So, I mean, saved her thousands of dollars in grief right there. But that's pretty sneaky. That's pretty sorry. But that's what they will, any kind of information they can get on you, they will, whether it's an obituary, anything. So, Facebook. My wife doesn't understand why I never put anything on Facebook. And I was like, I don't want anybody to know who you are, who the girls are, anything. So, but I've got them trained. Those girls sure listen a little bit more than my boy does. And we'll always I love getting these, we've got a deal too, and I encourage this, is that anytime I get these texts, these scam texts, which they come up more often than I'd like them to, maybe once or twice a month with, you got a package or, whatever. I'll always take a screenshot of it, and we, have our little family text, deal. And I'll take a screenshot of it, and I'll just put scam, and I'll send it to everybody in the family. My mom, my aunt, everybody. And it educates them, and it puts them on the alert for these kind of scams. You can get this online at the Senate on Special Committee on Aging, and this is a big packet, and it's been updated, but it's called Fighting Fraud, and it's actually one of the few things that I think the government's done a really good job of as far as providing information to victims, okay? It's extremely detailed, and it's really, really a great resource, and but that's what it is, and it's at www.aging.senate.gov. It's an excellent resource, great to read. Here is my direct line. This bypasses everybody. It goes straight to my desk, 940-349-2725. And then, I made a mistake. And you can email me at brian.wolf@dentoncounty.gov, not .com. I need to change that. And they switched this all over to .gov. So that's my email. I'm usually a lot better about answering emails a lot quicker than phone calls. I'm out in the field quite a bit, and but I'm really OCD about keeping a clean email box, so I do get onto emails a lot faster than phone calls. So if you're ever a victim of fraud, and or if you just don't feel like something's right and want me to follow up on it, I'm happy to do that. That's my job. That's what you pay me to do. I can tell you that with these type of cases, oh, man, I forgot. I need to add some more screens in here to modify this. Remember I was telling you about the gift cards scam, wire money scam? The new one out is Bitcoin. We want you to pay us in cryptocurrency. Just go to I think the mall, the Golden Triangle Mall used to be the only place in Denton. And we were just having people, I was like, this is crazy. We should just sit there with a little desk outside the crypto thing and say, hey, where are you sending this? Just you know. And but now there's crypto machines everywhere. I mean, they're like ATMs. But if you're ever asked to pay in crypto or Bitcoin, it's a scam and will never get your money back. Okay. So what I tell folks is I cannot wave a magic wand and get your money back. That rarely happens. Once in a blue moon, it does, but don't be the 1% of people that it does. All this stuff is going overseas for the most part. Now we've got these other scams that are popping up with the pay in gold. Everybody heard about that in Collin County? Yeah, pay in gold. We were getting some phone calls on that, and we were referring it out, but it did happen some in Denton County, and I don't know if it's the same with that, but any kind of, payment in, any type of stuff like that is going to be fraud. But back to what I was saying is that, a lot of times with law enforcement, you'll hit a wall, right? But always report this to law enforcement. Always ask for that a report be taken and that you get a report number, okay? Because that documents the fraud, first of all. Second of all, if you have a credit card that's stolen or compromised, okay, then you can provide them their report number. They'll want that, depending on your credit card company. Same thing with your bank. So just always, a lot of times we find that agencies are not so willing to do that, but you're entitled to that. So be sure you do. In worst case scenario, if they just won't, will call me and we'll figure something out. So I talk to, hundreds and hundreds of people a year. And here in Denton County, this county is exploding in growth. I don't have to tell you that. And it brings in bad people. So know that. And we're also very, this is also a county that has a lot of money. So people here, are very fortunate and they know that this is a target. Also, what I like to tell people is that the bad guys like to hit this area because guess why? You've got Dallas, Fort Worth, Collin County, Plano, Frisco, all these big money places, and Denton County. So all they do is make the loop. So anyway, with that being said, I sure do appreciate your time. I'm sure we probably ran a little bit late, maybe just a little bit. My apologies, but I really appreciate your attention to this, and thanks for coming. And I hope that y'all learned something today, or are willing to share something, with your family members, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to deter this type of thing. Okay? Yeah. So I've heard that. I just haven't seen a lot of that. I haven't seen anything like that come across my desk. I have heard about that. But with voice stuff now, I think a lot of people that used to be a big thing about 10 years ago, and I think they're starting to break away from that. But I know what you're talking about, but I'm sorry, I don't know, because I've just never had any experience with it. And I've not seen it come across my desk here. So, yes. Right. They want you, yeah, no, you're on, yeah, they've got your information, yeah. And, yeah, they've got your information. So that's just something obviously don't. I never click on any link that's sent to me in a text message, by the way. Sure, yeah. Well, like I said, right, and that's, yeah. Block them. Oh, using a different number? Yeah. No, they're very persistent. Yeah, and that's a great, just asking that kind of reminded me of something else. Well, there's nothing you can do other than that. Well, here's what I say. And my mom and I were driving across state last summer with taking care of some of my dad's stuff. And we're talking, and some fraud talk had come up. I'm like, hey, how's everything doing? I always try to, my mom lives in Lubbock, so she's a little bit far from me, so I can't always check up on her. But she's great, sharp as a tack, and, and she can outwalk me any day. We were talking, and all of a sudden we're driving down the road, and her phone rings. And I just look over, and it's some crazy number. And she answers the phone, and I hear she's holding the phone out like this, and the person on the line goes, "Grandma, I need some money." And she hung up, and so, right, it's a scam, obviously. But I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? I don't ever, if you don't see the number, if it's so important, they'll call back. Right? Or leave a voicemail. Yeah, I said call back. But yeah, leave a voice message. But she just didn't want to be rude or miss out on a phone call she thought might be important from somebody. I'm telling you, though, that's the way, she was raised, and the way she raised me and my, but the bad guys know this, right? You call my son and my daughter, you may be lucky on the third time that they might answer or respond to your text, right? But that's the way that they look at things. The way our generations look at things is, I don't want to be rude, or I hope everything's okay, or blah, blah, blah. And it's even more dangerous now with the spoofing, right? So as far as me, I never take any calls or texts that I don't know, period. I delete it, I block it. You can get these apps on your phone that will eliminate a lot of these spam calls, all right? I can't tell you which one's better than the other. I can just tell you that there are. I have one, and I don't even know what it is. I put it on there so many years ago, and it's really helped. But you can do these things, right? You can put stuff on your phones that will help prevent that. But you can't stop somebody from trying to call you. You can block their number. They're going to call you right back from a different number, right? So it's just until eventually it'll stop, and it will. But them having that information, that's just a red flag to you, to let you know that they know who you are and who some of your friends are. Yeah. No, well, it's just another deal. There's 5 million of these things out there. Anything that they can do to get. Well, people want to see that, right? Because they're using something that people will always try to gravitate to, like wrecks. Well, I guarantee everyone. I worked, God knows how many wrecks for how many years on the side of the road, and I never saw a car not slow down and stare. So that's what they use, right? See the wreck, see this, somebody passed away, somebody's sick, they want to get you to click on the link, but don't. So yeah. Yes, ma'am, back in the green. Oh, I don't know. That wouldn't surprise me. I don't see through it? With the tap to pay. Well, I'll say this: I have not heard that, but I can tell you, a real quick history. The credit cards now all have that microchip, that silver microchip, and that really prevents most all the credit card fraud. But used to back in the day, right? Everybody swiped their card. Well, all that mag strip, what we call it, magnetic strip, that we call it the mag strip, on the back of your credit cards, they still have them. That's full of information, right? And so when they scan that, all that information is run. Well, you can get a skimmer, which is smaller than, I mean, like that big, and you can swipe that, and it encodes everything. It saves everything on there. So always use your tap to pay if you can, because like I never give. Well, I say never. That's not true. I rarely give my credit card to like servers or anything like that. Let it get out of my sight because I don't want it. I don't want the chance of it getting skimmed. And we've had a ton of stuff, not recently, but in the past, where we've had employees that have taken people's credit cards and then skimmed them and kept the numbers and everything and then gone on a shopping spree. Credit card companies are real aware of that. And so there's a lot of good stuff out there, fraud prevention on that. But I always use tap to pay. I always use cash as many times as I can. But yes, ma'am, you had a question at the same table? Venmo? I don't use it. My kids do. They haven't had any issue with it, but I just prefer not to. Like the less of my information that's out there, the better, in my opinion. So, but Venmo, I've never had a Venmo scam. So I don't want to say yes, it is, but speaking for me is from what I've seen. I've never seen any Venmo cases, and my kids use it all the time, and they get irritated because they want to Venmo me, and I'm like, no, you go through the bank app and you transfer the money to me, or when you see me, you pay me when I'll see you then. But I don't do the Venmo. So, but that's just my personal deal. So yeah. About what? Oh, okay. No, that's okay. Yeah, well, yeah. So I would never, it's not something I would do. Like the games for money and stuff like that. Yeah, where you have to, yeah. Just know, I mean, all that stuff is coming from third-party sources, and I would never like give my bank account information or anything like that for any of that. I use PayPal. I am comfortable with that, and I do stuff on eBay and stuff like that. Like I bought some baseball cards this week. Felt fine about that. But I think PayPal's good. But these third party with these, with that, that's not something that I would do or give them my information. So, all right. Anything? Oh yeah, yes, sure. Sure. Just delete them. I mean, I would just spam them. I used to get a lot, and I spammed them all, and I get them every once in a while. But I don't have a business, right? I mean, I'm not, I'm not used to getting a lot of emails. I'm just one person. So, but yeah. So I'm gonna sit down for a minute. My hip's starting to hurt. Just had a hip replacement, so it's starting to remind me that that I had it. But yeah, no. You just keep. I would just do that. Do you have what do you have, a Gmail or a what account do you have, a Gmail or? Okay, yeah. So a good one. Does anybody still have an AOL email? Okay, don't be bad. I just got rid of mine like 5 years ago, so don't feel bad. AOL is really bad. They have a lot of security breaches with their emails, with the old AOL emails. Just know that. So, but it just depends, But I throw all mine into spam. Sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't. But I put them all into spam, and hopefully they won't come back. Oh, absolutely, yeah. No, yeah. But I mean, I personally, so I can't make recommendations, but I'll just tell you what I have. I have Gmail, and I used to have AOL. But I have found with Gmail, like with AOL, good Lord, I was getting all kinds of crazy stuff. And I was like, this is ridiculous. And with Gmail, I don't have that problem. So I don't know I'm not a very tech savvy guy when it comes to that. But I know that with Gmail, I've had so much less spam and unwanted stuff. So Gmail does a good job, in my opinion, of filtering a lot of that junk. Yeah. So, yes, ma'am. Well, I do not. Well, I use cash or a credit card. Yeah. Yeah, well, you can just know that, I mean, you're opening, that debit card's going to be taken straight out of your checking account or your savings account, right? If it's compromised, anything that's being used or charged in that, when it's compromised, is going to be coming out of your account, until the bank stops it or you stop it or somebody stops it. So then now you have to play catch up. Well, that's what I use. That's what I do. That's the only time I use my debit card, and I only use it at the ATM at my bank. So, I mean, that's the only time I use my debit card. I never use it for anything else. And if you're going to use your debit card, restaurants may be one thing, but for goodness sake, never use your debit card at a gas pump. They will, I mean, that is ground zero for these skimmers that they just put on the face of these gas pumps, and they will get all your information. So, but like I said, with a credit card, it seems to me, my personal opinion, not the opinion of, the Denton County District Attorney's Office, my opinion, is that using a credit card, you make it easier for yourself if you're a victim of fraud. I've seen that firsthand. Credit card companies are a lot more easy to deal with in that regard. Now, some banks I'm sure are great, and I'm not sure sit up here to tell you that, don't use your local bank. But just me personally, it's a win-win for me. If my card's compromised, I pick up the phone, cancel the card, claim the charges as fraud, have a card back to me in 2 days, submit a police report if I have to, which is 30 minutes, and problem solved. Debit card, now my bank's, just like I was telling you, my friend, his bank account short $3,000. They're going to do their investigation. They're going to want a police report. They're going to want all this stuff that takes time. Will your money get back? In all likelihood, absolutely it will. That Visa and MasterCard logo on that debit card, you have certain guarantees and rights by having that card. I'm just saying it's a lot more of a hassle. And like I get points, on my credit card, flight miles. So I want to use that to my advantage. So to me, that's the way I think. Other people, there may be 10 other people that have a completely different opinion than me, and they may be just as right. But I just know that by what I do, my bank account's not going to get hit. So, any other questions? Well, thank you all so much. It was very, very informative. I like to you always get feedback from everyone here, and I wish you all the luck. Remember this, so it's not Christmas time, but I'm a big Christmas person, and I always think that Christmas is always around the corner, but it'll be here before you know it. And starting in about October is when all of y'all are going to start, everybody, all these bad guys and bad girls are going to really up their activity trying to get to you and your money. Know that, right? It's Christmas time, the holidays, it's busy, hustle, bustle. Everybody's in the Christmas spirit, in a giving spirit, more likely to not, look at as hard at certain things as they do others. I'm telling you, it's the worst time to be a victim of fraud. And always look for these packaging. That's when you'll see the most of these texts from USPS. Hey, your package arrived at the post office today. but we just need some more information. Click on this link. Well, how many people think that the post office has their phone number? Yeah, no. Okay. Or if that phone number from the post office in Denton's coming from a 213 area code. Okay. But man, people do. So always take the time to be aware of that. But like I said, the holidays are approaching, and, well, maybe not right now, but keep your radar up even more around starting in October through the new year, because, boy, they really kill us at Christmas, man. We get a lot of reports of scams. We get them all year round, but Christmas is always a high frequency area. All right, well, thank you so much on behalf of your elected district attorney, Paul Johnson. Thank you again for being here, and if you ever need anything, call me or email me. Thank you.
Thanks again, Brian. We sure appreciate it. Thank you all for your patience. We've definitely gone a little bit over, so that's all good. He's going to be here for a little bit if you want to come talk with him. He may have to go too. So, but anyway, thank you guys so much. Y'all have a great week.
Appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure.